The Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course. It almost didn't happen. We had some challenges tonight here at the studio. Jim ended up coming back, and we had to hit the reset button on a bunch of different, very expensive-looking boxes. And thankfully, all of those reset buttons did what they were supposed to do. We had internet signal back in the studio, and here we are for episode number 338. Tyler Smay, the guy in the T-Bird. We heard his name invoked the last couple episodes that we've been on here for over the last 2 months. We've also heard about Cory Roman a little bit. We're going to be catching up with both of those guys here through the course of our evening together. I'm going to say right now that I apologize to Frankie Guy. We were supposed to be rolling out his new ad spot tonight. That, because the internet issues that we ran into didn't get done, but we are going to give him his due justice, a little bit of time on the air where we run through our ad spots. And we also happy to announce that we have been able to renew our program, and you'll be hearing about some new stuff from Jeffy's Fab Farm coming up from now until June. So that's cool. Some good news today. This was easily one of the best text messages I've ever got. It even came with the alternating lowercase, uppercase that Ed Brewster is known for. He is going to be discharged and going to be going home. If you check out Ed's Last Hurrah page, there is a number of auctions and things that are going on. There's all sorts of painted stones. Ed ended up having throat surgery. He's got a little bit of a road of recovery in front of him. He's going to be drinking way more Ensure than I think that he's ever wanted to. I know when he first got diagnosed as sick, shortly after, I think it was shortly after Motorama last year, he started drinking 2 or 3 milkshakes a day. So I guess maybe that's not too far of a stretch with the Ensure. But Ed is going to be able to go home, which is very, very good news. I haven't had the chance to talk to him a whole lot, obviously with the throat trouble, but nonetheless, he's on his way home. So that's very, very good to hear. And also, BJ Madigan has a birthday today. Scott Bauer has a birthday today, and our own beloved grumpy Mark Benjamin turned 47 today. So happy birthday out to all those guys. So it's been a pretty good day. I'm pretty happy. Brian, we have a very astute listener. Eric has been keeping tabs on us, and when we hit the go live button tonight, we hit a milestone that I didn't even know that we were about to hit.
What's that?
Do you know what it might be?
Not a clue, but I'm going to find out.
This is the 400th time that Crash Course has gone live on FingerLakes1.com or FingerLakes1.tv.
Really?
400 times. So that includes when we were live at Blizzard Bash on Finger Lakes 1 or live at Bash for Cash at Finger Lakes 1. It doesn't, however, include all the times that we went live just on Facebook, like from quarantine over the spring. It doesn't include the number of times that we went live just on Facebook or just locally for the people that were there. So it also doesn't include the pay-per-view events that we did. So we've hit the go live button a lot of times, and this in particular is number 400, which is just crazy to me. 400 times.
Yeah, that's amazing, and thank you for paying that close attention. That's somebody that really enjoys the show. That makes me feel good.
Eric,
it's crazy to think, man. I mean, the stuff we've done and the shows we've had and the places we've gone. You have a much, I don't know if the word's grand, but you had an idea of what you wanted to do and where you wanted to go, and I've just followed, man, and I really enjoy it. It's fun. People seem to like it, so as long as there's demand, let's keep going. I mean, this is cool.
It's been a heck of a ride. We've covered a lot of stuff. I saw Impact had some announcements and some news. out of Canada. We've got that's Cory joining us on the line right now. I'm going to slide over here and listen to the earphone rig so that everybody can hear everybody. And we're back. We're back back over here to our traditional perch. It really has been an incredible ride, and we've had the good fortune of having a ton of guests through here. I was just trying to kind of go through the math of all of it when you figure the number of times that we went live from the track with the 31st lap plus the studio stuff. Handful of times that we've gone live from the field with final round. It's like pushing 800.
I was going to say, it's up there. It's up there. And I mean, obviously, you've been you're the consistent part of all of it. I mean, you've really went out of your way to help motorsports and not just any one discipline. I mean, you've from demolition derby to drag racing, you've covered it all. So, I think the fans definitely owe you an attaboy and a nice job. Not that you like to hear me say this stuff or you like to deal with that, but it's true. You really help a lot of people with getting their motorsports fixed. So, congratulations, and hopefully this fun ride keeps on.
For sure, absolutely. And the thing is without the fans, we wouldn't really be able to do this because we wouldn't be drawing any numbers, and Finger Lakes One would say, "Why exactly are you wasting our time?" So, really, we do appreciate everybody that continues to listen week after week, and hopefully this one. Unfortunately, we didn't get to put it out there as early as we like to, and catch all the traffic. But all the same, I know this is going to be a popular one, especially on the replays. Cory Roman and Tyler Smay joining us through the course of the episode. Cory is on the line right now. Cory, man, how are you?
Not too bad. How about you?
We're doing okay. We appreciate you coming on and making some time for us. Sorry about the confusion with the internet challenges, but all the same, as planned, here we are. And your name's come up quite a bit here in the last 2 months. We were talking about hardcore. We were talking about the Keystone Nationals and different events that we saw with the Reckless Warrior Tour and trips to Stoneboro and trips to Clarion and trips to the Jefferson County Fairgrounds for the Keystone Nationals out there. Did you realize that you were as popular as this?
Well, I don't know that I am. I think you guys are making it out a little bit more than I really am. But no, I mean, I know my name's definitely out there. I mean, run a lot of big shows. People will talk about you, I guess, whether it's good or bad. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, kind of really haven't been in the spotlight much lately. Haven't had much time to run. Kind of been a bummer, but hopefully we turn that around this year and get to a couple shows.
It seems like every driver, especially where we live, in the general sense of we being us up here in New York, you down there in that part of Pennsylvania, it seems like every couple of years there's a handful of drivers that just sort of, they don't take a year off, because if you take a year off, it's more often that you don't come back to it, where the stars just don't align, they don't run as often, but then when they come back, holy crap, they come back and they set the world on fire. And is that by design that you took a little bit of time off, or was it just the stars didn't align to let you get out and run? I mean, how much of that was COVID?
Well, I actually ended up selling my house in the spring, and we started building a new one, so I was doing all the excavating and working at the house and getting things ready. So that ate up a lot of the time. And then, my kids getting to the age now, I had to help coach the T-ball team. And,
sure,
just was a busy year. Just wasn't in the cards to make time for derbying,
The new house have a nice 60 by 120 garage with 4-post lifts and everything in it?
Well, 40 by 46 with two lean-to, 14-foot full-length lean-tos on the side. It doesn't have a lift in it in the moment. It's got a bed and a couch and a kitchen in it, because that's where we're living until the house is finished up, because COVID has the house backed up. We were supposed to be in October, maybe November at the latest, and we're not looking to be in until March or April now, so.
Good grief.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
It's actually not bad. It worked out all right, because I wasn't planning on building the garage till next year anyway. So we had to get it hurried up and built, so we had somewhere to stay. So we got a nice finished garage, and we're ready to start building cars in it as soon as the house is done. So
I was just going to say, do you keep everybody else up when you're trying to tinker on stuff over there the wee hours of the morning, and everybody else is in the back of the garage sleeping?
Well, I tried to talk my wife into letting me get the lift, and I told her I can weld right off the living room couch while we're watching TV. But I don't know, for some reason, she didn't go for that.
Who'd have thought?
It was a great idea, quality time, family time, not missing out on any time while we're building stuff. But
Funny how that works out like that.
That couch and everything going to stay in the garage? The finished kitchen, is that going to stay in the garage once the house is done?
No, that's all that stuff's taken up. Well, the stove and washer and dryer and everything's taking up outlets for the welders, so I got to switch them out, or else I won't be able to weld. So that stuff's all going out.
That stuff's got to be going.
We're gonna have to change them plugs out when that stuff moves out. But
I was going to say, once the season got here, you are now without any reason at all to leave the garage.
yeah. No, I know I'll definitely like whenever we do get the house finished. I've never had the garage right at the house. I always have to travel a little bit to go work on cars, so it'll be a lot more convenient. I know that.
Definitely. So, Cory, I think this is the first time we've talked to you since you guys went and ran in Vegas. We're a little behind, but how fun was that? I mean, to go out there for your first time like that and have the success you guys did. I mean, it kind of, basically, I mean, you couldn't really have planned it much better. I mean, you go out there and bring all the money home. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great time. Even if we wouldn't have won, it was a great experience. I mean, it was just to be at a place like Las Vegas with as many people that were there with the same interest as you. No matter where you went, you were always running into somebody, whether you knew them or not. You just saw them in the pits, and next thing you know, you're sitting at the tables gambling with them, or hanging out, having a good time. I mean, we met a lot of good people out there. It was great. And then obviously, the way the show went, keep finishing off with a win there. I mean, can't ask for any more than that.
Yeah, that was definitely great to see you guys go out there and have success like that. I mean, I think it's, Pennsylvania and New York, obviously there's some great drivers, and I think that, people are starting to travel more and are starting to open people's eyes. I mean, you guys, kind of proved you can go wherever and run with the best. I mean, it's got to feel pretty, it's got to be very satisfying to know you could run with the best and beat the best. I mean, that's, we all get into it for fun, but I mean, when the guys that stick around generally stick around because, they like the success and they like the challenge. And I mean, it's got to be pretty fulfilling to do something like that.
Oh, I mean, there's definitely, there's a lot of people starting to travel out, now that Keystone Nationals are, they're, firing back up now, but, when Bo wasn't having all his shows and everybody kind of ventured out. And that group of people, I mean, they were doing good, all over the place. Winning all, a bunch of different states and shows. I think 2019, I don't know, there were a lot of people that ran, the old Keystone Nationals and stuff they were winning everywhere.
Yep.
That is for certain.
Really good for this area, venturing out and doing well elsewhere.
How did that whole conversation come about where you're going to end up dragging a car across the country to Vegas?
Well, actually, it wasn't even any of our ideas. It was Tyson Coombs wanted to run out there, and we got a hold of Frankie Guy and Justin Hartzell and asked for a recommendation into the show, and they did it for us and actually ended up sponsoring us. Hardcore gave us some money and sponsored us to get out there, and luckily we got my name drawn in the raffle to get one of the last 15 spots. And, unfortunately, Tyson didn't get to make it out. He ended up getting sick, and Brett Rallier took his spot and got us all out there. And the rest is history. But I mean, it was fun. We can't wait to do it again.
Where does that, not so much the win, obviously the win's going to be pretty high, but just the experience itself. I mean, you alluded a little bit to it about, going and suddenly you find yourself at the gambling tables with everybody, the atmosphere, and running at an event like that. You've been part of big shows, but that is the extreme version of running outside of your hometown where you don't necessarily know everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that was a whole nother element to it. I would recommend anybody to go out and watch that show and go out there for the week. Like I said, I mean, up and down Fremont Street, there's people everywhere. And, I mean, the amount of friends we made out there was unreal. Take a day, on inspection and whatnot. And, we went out to the Grand Canyon, the Hoover Dam, and went out and sightseeing a lot. And, it was a fun trip with a fun derby on top of it. Right
on. Is there one derby that stands out sort of as your favorite, be it locally or on a national scale, or maybe both, for that matter? Because different derbies have their different charms, and running locally, you get to revive the rivalries. Running outside of the hometown, you get to see all sorts of different sights. Is there any derbies that stand out to you as ones that are like, wow, I really can't wait to get back there?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I really wish Keystone was still, running like it was, with, full protectors and everything. That was hands down my favorite derby. I mean, there was always good people coming in. That was always a good show, good hard hitting, fast pace. But yeah, that was my favorite, hands down. And it was, that's actually my local county fair, so.
Right. I mean, it was
kind of all worked out together there. So,
in terms of the hardcore season, is that something that you're going to be able to gear up for in a serious way?
Yeah, I got 2 cars in the garage right now, getting packed back together. We're going to try and hit their shows pretty hard this year. I think he's got 6 or 7 of the hardcore class. I'd like to at least get to 5 of them. Them guys are doing a pretty good thing there. I haven't really been able to support them the last year or 2 years because of how busy I've been and not really running. So
sure,
you're gonna hit them. Hopefully, he's got a big show at the end of the year. I think it's paying $10,000 to win.
Right. Not only is it paying $10,000 to win, but they've also got a $3,000 Mad Dog. Jeffy's Fab Farm jumping behind that at the final encounter coming up at the end of the season. $3,000 Mad Dog's nothing to shake a stick at either.
No. Sure there'll be a couple of people chasing that. But yeah, I'm really excited to run for them guys. Gonna try my hand out at King of Ohio show. Triple D Promotions, and then get a car ready for them. Debating on going down and running the Dead Man show this spring.
Right.
Not sure if that's going to happen now or not, but
yeah, it's been a little bit up in the air. We've sort of been just letting TJ run his course and talk to the people that he has to get to, and then he'll get back with us and let us know what the details are, because I'm sure he's getting bombarded on all sides. With people looking for details on it. I mean, right now it's scheduled to be a little over 3 months from now. So certainly some challenges there for No Mercy, which is supposed to be down there in Maryland with Dead Man Derby Promotions. Hopefully he can get it in, but it's not looking good. There's more and more. I guess there's more ominous clouds on the horizon, if you will. Looking forward to what might happen with some of these early spring shows. Hopefully they can get in, but
it
needs to be
it's
seen.
Hard to say. I know Brookville's having theirs too, and it's just hard to say what all is going to happen a couple months from now as far as everything getting shut down.
I'd just move all the derbies to Pennsylvania. It's safe there. They got football. They got derbies. Everything's good, man. Let's just go to PA.
Yeah, you're just not allowed to have anybody at them.
That's the issue. That's the issue. Frank,
you can have the event. You just can't have any spectators for anything.
Frankie Guy checking into the live chat. Tommy Woodbury hanging out. Jacob Gillum saying hello. Good to see everybody tuning in. Yep, we are on, and boy, we made it in just under the wire with some internet issues here in the studio, but thankfully we were able to get everything put back together and squared away. Catching up with Cory Roman for a few minutes here. Cory's been brought up by various guests and drivers, not just us. He blamed us for all this attention. It was the other drivers that were bringing it up as well. How did you get into Demolition Derby to begin with?
As long as I can remember, Sykes Wagon Youth Fair was is a smaller fair. It's still in the same county as Jefferson County, but it's just kind of standalone. Mm-hmm. My grandpa used to always donate equipment and did a lot of work there, and that was something I always wanted to watch. It was a Demolition Derby every year. And I think when I turned 15, and was at one of my friend's house and looked in his neighbor's backyard, and he had a old front-wheel drive Chrysler back there. And I think I went and bought it for $25 or $40 or something, and brought it home, and I had my grandpa weld the door shut for me, and been running ever since.
See, everybody starts with the good cars. Everybody starts with Mopars, then they branch off to something else. It's always the Mopar that gets you into it.
Well, when you don't win for so long, you got to change, right?
Oh, man.
That was a dagger. Oh, gosh.
I don't know if a turbocharged four-cylinder front-wheel drive Dodge Lancer is a good car. I don't know. I didn't compare too well for me.
I think you lost it at Lancer.
I can't say anything. I've had very good luck in Chrysler products. I have. I can't say anything bad about them. But I prefer GM though.
Where did we see you? You had a '68 Imperial at one point, didn't you? Was that a Stoneboro?
I had all the subframers I've had have been 71 to 3s.
Okay.
I mean, looking at full framer here, I've been running for the last couple of years in the kicker class. A little wide framer out back, and other subframers sitting here. So I mean, I've dabbled in them, mostly Imperials. But,
that's always good to hear.
A couple shockers and wide framers throughout the years, but.
Well, if you're going to dabble in Chryslers, you might as well dabble with Imperials. I mean, that's it's a pretty nice car to dabble with.
Yeah. It's not many places to play with them much anymore.
We've seen you have some real good runs in Cadillacs. Would you say Caddies are your favorite of the GM products, or?
For the right rules, I've had real good luck with a Cadillac over the years. Really, it all depends on the rules. I mean, I like Buicks and Olds. Never shy away from a wagon either. So
yeah,
I'm not too partial on one car at all, really.
That's cool.
And I'll run them all.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, Cadillac, though, I know the majority of my bigger money runs have been on in a Cadillac, for sure.
Yeah, we've seen you have some pretty good runs in your caddies. That's for sure. Always there at the end when you saw you running your caddies.
Yeah, they've treated me well throughout the years. So
I think it was the last year that we were down for the Keystone Nationals. If not the last year, then maybe it was the year that Pete won it with no steering, duking it out with the Quinslers. I seem to remember Cory had a car that had come way, way over in the back. The back had folded over, but somehow the thing was still moving and drove that thing down deep. For all intents and purposes, the amount of frame drag and the way that rear end was pitched over, you thought the thing would have stopped, but it kept moving, and you got down there a little ways.
Yeah, that was 2014, I believe. That was the year Pete won.
Yeah.
That was my leftover bash car. I just figured I'd go have fun and try and get Mad Dog. Just one of them runs that everything was going right. I ended up just getting stuck in the mud.
It was because the frame rails were 4 inches below ground level.
Yeah, and then there was about 12 inches of mud on the track, too, because it poured down rain.
Right.
2 days straight.
Yeah, that was a floppy show.
That was that was terrible. I remember it was running up through the floorboards and all the way up my ankles.
Oh.
It was muddy. It was bad.
Wow, that's a nice track though. I like how that track's set up. That's pretty neat. I'd like to get back there and see another show.
Yeah, they're running that spring show there this year. I don't even know what the dates are on it. Brookville Spring Nationals.
Yeah, that's the
Pretty good payout and stuff too.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it.
Little soccer than I like to run, so I'm gonna have to skip out on it. But
Are we? A bunch of the promoters that we've talked to have always have spent some time acknowledging the ebb and flow of the sport. You're on a different side of it as a builder. They say it comes up to a point where everything's full weld and everything's all braced up and built, and then it takes too long to build a car, so they want to go back stock. And the next year it's, well, we want it stock, but we still want to be able to use this, this, and this, and it would help if we could do this and that and get another round of the car. And over 2-3 years, it gets back up.
Going full circle.
Yeah. So where are you at? I mean, you prefer to go to the absolute max and stay there, or do you like the stocker builds at times?
I wouldn't have a problem with a stock build. I just got tired of breaking stuff. I broke like 3 blocks.
Right.
I think that was 2014. And ever since then, I've had no desire to run without a cradle. And I'll run a bone stock car. Just give me the engine protection.
Sure.
Give me a slider, give me a bracer, and I'll run anything.
Just not a Dodge Lancer.
Over breaking blocks. That got too expensive.
Sure. Bunch of folks checking in here. Tom Bell hanging out. We saw Jacob Gillen. Deadman registration open today. So Deadman at this point is still a go. Christy Germain from up over the border. Devin had a birthday. I don't know if we mentioned that or not. Devin had a birthday here recently. Turned 29, possibly 29 again. Hard to say. But Devin had a birthday. They've mapped out their schedule, had some announcements forthcoming, and much like the Super Dirt Car Series here locally, their schedule came out last week. A lot of plans up over the border, but we still need to see that border opened up so that the guys can get back and forth. I don't think any modifieds are going to Drummondville, and I don't think any derby cars are going to Humberstone if we don't get that border opened up and straightened out. But hopefully that'll remedy itself as we go forwards. Tony Godwin checking in. He said the last time he saw you run, a wheel fell off the back, so I guess that's probably not good. Scott Kiefer saying hello, and he says that I missed the train. I didn't miss the train. The train was basically right outside our window. I don't know if anybody heard it. I don't know how you could have missed it, but yeah, the 5:30 special was running a little bit late.
Snapping both my axle tubes in the Imperial at Frankie's show.
Yeah.
Snapped them right off.
James McLean, Spartan checking in, JYD and Hitman all listening as well. Good to hear from those guys. They had a pretty good weekend in Pop's launch of his Sunday afternoon league. Ended up taking home a second place and a third place, so that was pretty good for that crew. They've been winning quite a lot behind the computer screens because we don't have any other derbies going on this time of year. But congratulations out to those guys. Christy Germain, we did, didn't we? Christy Germain was asking about an article on Cory in Derby Inc. magazine long ago, and I do believe that you were featured in a cover story on that.
Yeah, that was Reckless Warrior series. We did one. She wrote an article up on me there.
Yep, that's right. Man, the things that we remember and the things that we forget. Jeez.
Man, hard thing to believe. That was almost 6 years ago now.
I know, right? And
hard to believe.
And what has changed in 6 years in terms of the technology of Demolition Derby, the build styles, the promoters that are having success and momentum, and it's a different world now.
Yeah, I think the builds, everybody, anything you were a little bit ahead on, 5-6 years ago, unless everybody else is figuring out by now, you know. I mean, the cars seem to be a lot closer. You know, obviously everybody's got good drivetrains now, good cars. And the car counts are getting lower, so I mean, it's mostly all good cars. The whole Derby now. It's definitely getting tougher, competition wise. But I mean, it's pretty much all about the same stuff.
It's
try and find loopholes and get yelled at for it.
as long as you know it going in, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like a lot of the freedoms getting people are getting a little carried away on some of the things that, you know, promoters were letting go, and they're getting a little too far over the top. Mm-hmm. They're kind of, you know, tightening up the rules everywhere here and there, but
is that so bad?
No, it's pretty close to the same, I'd say.
Is that so bad, having the rules tightened up in the sense of them being more clear so that there's not so much cutting that you have to do, so there's not so many issues in the tech line?
See, I'm a pretty big believer in, I don't like shows where they tell you there's only one way to do things. Mm-hmm. You know, I like the idea of 10 different people showing up with 10 different ways of accomplishing the same thing, you know? Whenever they come down, they tell you where you got to put your bumper plates, or, you know, exactly how they want it, or where they want it, or exactly how the sway bar to be mounted. You know, just little things. You know, I like seeing shows where they let you get a little more creative, and, you know, not load shows by any means, not plating them up, but, you know, if you got a good idea and it fits the rules, I like seeing places that they let you keep it, not cut it off because nobody else has it, you know?
Sure.
But, yeah, I mean...
Brian and I have talked about this topic, but never in the terms that we're sort of touching on right now. You know, the way that you build a wagon in Kansas is different than the way that you build a wagon in Wisconsin, and it's different than the way you build a wagon in Ohio. Not the joke of overbuild it and cut it when you get there, but just the theory of what you want the wagon to do. And when you bring a tech inspector in who is versed in a particular car, and they write the rules for that, it almost seems like you have to build the car the way that person built theirs, to the degree that they became expert in it. And it does take away some of that creativity. I never really thought about that until you just brought it up in that sense, and thinking about where you are in Pennsylvania and infringing in Ohio and Virginia and some of the other areas, is when you do get that degree of expertise, it does almost pigeonhole you into having to build the car that person's way, because that's what they know, or that's the position that they come from, and it does eliminate some of that creativity and potentially even takes away your ability to make the car do what you want it to do.
Yeah, and see, I'm a big believer in, if you want to have a good show where everybody drives hard, every driver on that track has to have confidence they got something the other guy doesn't, you know?
Sure.
So the more options you give people, the more different people out on that track think they have something that you don't, but in reality, you're probably all even. You know, you just did it in different ways.
Right.
You know, like hardcore's allowing kickers or full engine protection. Mm-hmm. You know, the kicker guys are going to think the kickers are better, and the full engine protection guys are going to think the full engine protection is better. Right. What are they going to do? They're going to meet in the middle, nose to nose, and you're going to get a better show. Right. You know?
That's true. But, very true.
That's a great point.
That was always my outlook on it. But,
you know, I was watching some stuff today on YouTube, and I've decided that, you know, the Northeast, which includes, to me, Pennsylvania, New York, you know, in the shows that allow it, you know, there's some guys that build some hard cars, and we use them. You know, I mean, it's hard to find, you know, sandbagging derbies. I mean, there's some guys that drive a little easier, but, you know, there's some shows you see on YouTube, and, I mean, these guys are driving, you know, basically Blizzard Bash cars, and they're barely hitting. But, I mean, you come back and find shows, you know, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia, you know, Ohio, some parts of Ohio, guys are getting after it. And that's something I really noticed. It's just like it hit me. Like, it's, guys like to build hard in our area, and obviously Chris mentioned what our area is, but they also like to drive hard. So I mean, I agree. I'd love to see, I love to see hard built cars, and I love to see them driven hard. So I can totally understand and agree with what you're talking about. That's that's
yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in middle of the road stuff. Like limited weld, mild weld, whether you like protectors or not. But if you look at both ends of the spectrum, if you have a bone stock car, you don't have the confidence to go nose to nose with another car because they're both going to bend, right? So if you're trying to go for a big money show and you're in bone stock, you can't make any hard hits because you only got a couple. And then now on the other end of the spectrum, you go into the kicker class and you got kickers and you're plated A arms forward like you are now. You don't go nose to nose in that class either because when something does go, it's real expensive to fix, and you don't have the confidence that you're going to bend the other car because it's just nothing but plate A arms forward,
Right.
Yep.
So I like the middle of the road shows where you got a little freedom to do some stuff different and
Yep.
move some things around, and you get a little extra confidence that somebody else might not have what you have. I think that's where you get your higher pay shows,
And that also brings us around full circle back to that debate. Do you make everybody even on track through the inspection line, or do you make everybody even on paper to the letter of the black and white rule book? And that's always a debate because there's never a good answer for that either.
Well, I don't think you make everybody even. The people that put more effort in should be above the people that put less effort in. If you want to run a big show, this isn't county fair level, but like a big show, you can't expect somebody that worked on their car for a year and put more thought into it than the other guys to cut their cars down to the other guys if they're legal,
Right. Right.
If they study the rules and they find something, I don't believe in making them cut.
And I think that's where we get into the world of like Pete Hansen, who I'm pretty sure has turned a dump truck into a time machine. He has rules for 2025 and already has the frame in the shop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just hate seeing people like that punished,
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily. I disagree. I don't think that's necessarily something where you're punishing somebody. You've got somebody that comes in and they're overbuilt, right? Somebody who is overtly overbuilt or somebody who is overtly underbuilt. And you have a duty as a promoter to make sure, one, nobody gets hurt. So you can't let a car that's underbuilt go out there. You got to at least point out to them where they can do things different or improve things to make sure that their car is safe. And also, if you got somebody that's overbuilt, they got to make sure that it's cut or you take things out. And that overbuilt car is going to have things, Corey, that you don't have or that Brian doesn't have or whoever. And that's that impasse that I'm talking about. You make sure that car is legal when it pulls onto the track so that what it has not found a way, the builder has not found a way to give themselves a performance advantage over everybody else out there? Or do you just make sure that the car is legal to the playbook that was laid out at the get-go? Because rule book is essentially a performance-based contract. You come with a car designed to these specific parameters that I've given you, and if you are the top performer, I agree that I will pay you an X amount of money for that performance.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. I've been on both sides of it. I've had cars that people didn't like, and I've been way underbuilt to what other people had because I missed things in the rules. I mean, it's happened to me where in my mind, what I did was perfectly legal, word for word,
right,
to the rule. I had to cut it, and in turn, that ruined the car because I built my car around that, So now, yeah, you might think in your head if you were an inspector making somebody cut, but when you don't know the whole chain of events of what was done on the car, you might just ruin that car.
Absolutely.
Over one little thing that was technically legal. So.
Right. It's well, you've got all of this time this winter in that nice new garage where you can look at those two beauties that are sitting in the bays from the comfort of your own couch while you're folding the laundry. While you're folding the laundry and getting ready to move into the new house and map all these plans out for hopefully what's going to be a busy and successful 2021.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you want to make mention of or anything?
John Carey, hopefully we can get him a good run this year. He's been helping me out quite a bit. He's wanting to get in some bigger shows and getting his setup lined up, and that's really about it. I mean, obviously, can't wait to run with Pete and Brett and Chance again. Do some practice for the next time we go out to Vegas. I mean, Davey Chapman's always helping me out with something. Smith Metalworks always are. Obviously, I got a couple new engines hitting here ready for this year. Brent Johnson at Redline, and fresh tranny from Bill Hurlbrink. I mean, I'm getting all the pieces in place, and I wouldn't be able to do it without all them guys. And hopefully I can hold up my end and get all that stuff to victory lane.
Well, that would be awesome. We look forward to following up with you after you get back into victory lane this year. We're certainly looking forward to it. And of course, keep us posted how the builds are going, how the house is going. Stay in touch. Let us know what's going on down there. And I appreciate you making some time for us. We gotta get Tyler on here before we get too late on him.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Congratulations on 400 episodes.
I appreciate it, man.
Thanks,
It means a lot.
Appreciate it.
Hey, you guys have a good one.
Thanks, Cory. We'll see you.
Bye.
There goes Cory Roman. Still can't believe that this was the 400th time, but sure enough, it is. It's just where we're at. It's kind of cool. So let's do this stuff real quick, and we'll get this part done while we get Tyler on the line. Dead Man Derby, online, deadmanderby.com. Registration opened today, and it is a go for the Dead Man Show. No Mercy coming up in spring 2021. Compact heats on Friday, along with the 80s Pro Stock heats and the half-ton trucks and SUVs. The Last Chance events are on Saturday. Youth Compacts, Imperials, the minivan, mini truck, and mini SUV divisions all on deck as well on Saturday. Full-size team one and done. Dead Man Compacts, Pro Stocks, three-man team compact feature, $6,000 to win. And the Mercenaries, that's a one and done, $3,000 to win. Make sure you jump online, find out more about it if you didn't get registered online, deadmanderby.com. Smash It Demolition Derby. Looking forward to catching up with Tim here in the coming weeks. Many thanks to everybody who supported Smash It end to end this year. It was a challenging and unprecedented season. Couldn't do without the partners, all the folks in the inspection line, the fans, fair boards, and all the supporters, plus the drivers. So, all sincerity, they say thanks. Online, smashitderby.com. Jeffy's Fab Farm. Jeffy's got some new stuff coming out. He's got a one-piece cable mount that just came out that he basically started out having a multitude of, and within minutes, the first week of January, he was already in the negative. So congratulations out to Jeffy on opening 2021 with some success, jeffysfabfarm.com. They're an industry leader. They started off things just trying to make some stacks for their buddies. Now they specialize in LS conversion components, all sorts of various header offerings. Last year, they released the 4-cylinder engine mount for the Camrys, the Hyundai Elantra, header combinations. The store offers bumper-to-bumper selection, including fuel and air parts, suspension and transmission items, steering components, pedal shifters, switches, and gauges. If you need it, you can find it on the farm. Smith Metalworks, we heard them referenced. They were on the side of Cory's car and the team when they went out there to Vegas. It's an all-purpose fabrication shop taking the Northeast by storm. 40 years of combined metalworking experience. The hallmark of the product line are the pointed and the flat bumpers and the super stock bumpers. All those replicate popular factory releases. Stuff them, run them hollow, it's up to you. They also make Crown Vic door skins, battery boxes, engine mounting system, pedal combos, and shifters. The shop offers all the odds and ends, such as distributor clamps and weld-in centers. Be sure to ask about the GM floor liners. Locations in Mercer, Uniontown, and in Bethlehem. They can also ship it to your door online, smithmetalworks.info. So we've got Tyler Smay waiting in the wings here. We're going to catch up with Tyler here, and we'll get everything back on track for the balance of the program here this evening. Looks like we're just about on time for Tyler, so that's good. Didn't really know how tonight was going to go about 5:45, but everything has seemed to align all right. And then finally, jump online, punch in Hardcore Derby. They've got a busy schedule, and it's all going to culminate with that final encounter, $10,000 to win. And that one, they're going to be taking qualifiers through the course of the year. They're going to be back at all the haunts that they were. A bunch of shows at Roaring Knob. Outstanding reputation that they built through the course of 2020. One of the only promoters that was able to consistently have cars out there. They were drawing monster numbers. And then you don't want to overlook that $3,000 Hellraiser award that they're going to be giving out at the end of the year. Online, Hardcore Derby. appreciate Frankie Guy coming on board. He's going to be with us for the duration of the run, so we're going to be talking with Frankie on a pretty regular basis and talking with his drivers and his winners from down there as well, straight through to the conclusion of the final encounter. Looking forward to that. Big thanks out to Hardcore and Frankie Guy. Tyler Smay joining us on the line. Tyler is another one of those guys that has gotten a lot of attention, social media, and some of the guests on the show have referred to that guy in the T-Bird, and as soon as we heard it, we knew that they were talking about Tyler, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So the guy in the T-Bird, is that a reputation you want?
It just kind of happened. It wasn't really planned. They just kind of kept finding me, so I kept building them.
The T-Birds just follow you home?
More or less, yeah. The last couple of years, I quit even putting ads out to try to. They just, from tagging me and saying, "Hey, here's a T-Bird for sale," and it's kind of happened.
What's the best lie you've ever told to somebody when you bought a T-Bird?
I bought one a couple of years ago, and I told him I was going to turn it into a drag car.
Oh yeah.
It was a 428 Cobra Jet 66. Power window, power lock, power seat, AC car. It was on Craigslist for 2 or 3 months. I was the first guy to show up with a trailer and cash.
Wow.
And it was cherry. Absolutely cherry.
Is that the nicest T-Bird you've wrecked, or has there been nicer?
Oh, it was the nicest one by far. I pulled the carpet up and the floors were still shiny.
You still have the motor, or did you sell the motor?
It was a roller. It was a roller, yeah. So it's no motor, no tranny. But,
Yeah, I was going to say that motor would be worth a lot of money to have that sitting in your garage.
Yeah, and I guess I shouldn't say it was a Cobra Jet. It was just a regular 428, but, to the T-Bird guys, they're fairly collectible, but, to me, they all smash the same, so.
Yeah. It was funny because Chris and I had just went to, well, not just, but we'd been out to Minnesota and see a couple of T-Birds ran, and then, but they were heavier. Like, it was a heavier build, but, then we got to see you run yours, and yours, I mean, everyone I've seen you run has been tough, and I felt like held up well. So, it's neat to see when guys run something different. Like, we hadn't seen a lot of them, you know what I mean? So it was, go ahead.
I think that was part of the appeal to them is, everybody builds a 456 GM, everybody builds a Crown Vic, and, I just kind of fell into them, and they're different. I like the challenge. You can't hop online and say, hey, how do I build this car? And I like the build aspect as much as I like running the actual car.
Yep.
The cars themselves, you haven't driven much besides T-Birds for a while. Is it a fair comparison that you build that sort of in the same theory as when you build a Suicide Lincoln?
It's similar. Yeah, it's A-arms forward is kind of similar. Mm-hmm. A-arms back, throw it out the window. If you're used to building full-frame cars, throw everything completely out the window and start over.
Right?
There's no spring pockets. There's no nothing. You have to think of it as like a 60s Mustang because they have spring towers instead of spring pockets. The oil spring sits on top of the upper A-arm, and they're really goofy. They're really goofy.
Well, you've had plenty of success in them. The red one from Jefferson County Fairgrounds is what stands out to me. Sort of the same story as Cory, actually. That thing had no business still even moving the way that had shifted over so far. It was the rear axle was about even with the back seat, and the sheet metal was just not there anymore.
Yeah, that was the first T-Bird that I had built. It was pretty rusty. way underbuilt, even to the rules, because I had no idea. It was all a guess at that point in time. For the most part, no slider, 28 spline 9-inch. I was just happy to be there. And, I like to think I got a little better with them.
Right.
But, there's a few guys around that are running them, and they do, they build good stuff out of them. But, it was a challenge. To the rules that I run, there's not much more to do with them.
Right.
So,
well, there's a bunch of comments coming in on the live chat that you're on the rev limiter from beginning to end, and you have the loudest T-bird that Justin Hartzell has ever heard.
I was all Ford drive, rear end, transmission, motor, the whole nine. And last year, I went to the dark side. I went to LS.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody says they're good. So I built one, and I put the limiter at 7,000, and I just put it on the limiter all night to see what would happen. It's going to blow up or it's going to stay together. And it stayed together. 7,012 is what it turned when I pulled the data out of the box. So, it did all right.
Yeah, those motors will definitely scream, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just a baby 4.8. I put a cam in it, good valve springs. I wrote the tune in the box. A couple other odd and ends here and there. But I figured if it's going to blow up, it's going to blow up good. So it withstood 7,000. It's actually apart right now. I'm going to change the valve train a little bit and switching over to methanol. And we're going to see if we can't get $8,000 out of it this year.
I was just gonna say, when we run small box Chevys up here, race motors, you turn them 8,500 all night long, and they like it. So I mean, I'm sure with a proper wrenching, you could probably get 8,500 out of an LS and just keep right on sinking.
Absolutely. I went from a small block Ford that made 125 horsepower on a good day, to an LS that, even if you don't know what you're doing, you're still going to make good power with it. And I'm happy with it. I built a Turbo 400 over the winter for myself. I did the engine, this past winter. And I figured, what the heck, we're going to see what happens. And it worked pretty good. So I got a 5.3 in the stand. I have a 6.0 coming in. So, we'll see what happens.
Yep, you got to find the edge. That's what my brother always says about racing. You got to find the edge. So, the only way to find it is to go out there and test it. So, might as well do it.
It's cheap horsepower. I mean, there's millions of them out there. You blow one up, you go to, some guy down the road. You go to the pick and pool. You get another short block for a couple $100, and throw a set of heads on it. Good valve train. And you just twist the crap out of it until it comes apart and throw it away and get another one.
Absolutely.
Jason McCarty is asking about the car at Listy.
Oh, the car I ran at the hardcore show this year, Roaring Dog, was actually, I had no plans on running it there because I built a car specifically to test the drivetrain out. It was a stock style show. It's like an hour from us, hour and a half. A little bit too much, I guess, because they didn't let me run. So we took basically a stock style car to the hardcore full size class down to Roaring Knob. And I was like, well, we got nothing for these guys, so we're just going to go crazy. And everything, well, the drivetrain held together great. Car completely wasted.
Yeah.
But, I paid $250 for it. It was a parts car. It was rusty. Everything was good.
those cars have such a they're so light, and when you put them side by side, like when you pull out and there's like Oldsmobile and 75 Cadillac and everything,
they're tiny.
They are so small, and you know, you've got that mobility advantage, but are you giving anything up in terms of what you can do in terms of collapsing front ends and stuff like that with those cars because they don't carry so much mass?
Well, they're like you said, they're very mobile.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely are down, you know, probably 1,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds. You know, you get some of the old, you know, 4, 5, 6 Gs. You know, I'm way down on the weight. Mobility, you know, I think is one of the advantages of those cars.
Mm-hmm.
The other advantages is nobody's really seen one, you know, up this way. You know, most of the T-Birds they've looked at have been either mine or, you know, some of my close buddies.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you can kind of skate through on a couple things, you know, but they take a lot of work. You can build, you know, do a super stock style rule set. You could probably build 2 or 3 Crown Vics to every T-Bird.
Whoa.
Nobody makes parts for them. You know, there's no, you know, you can't go buy ball joints, aftermarket ball joints for one of these cars. You know, there's no spinning parts. There's no nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing fits. They're goofy. And I don't know why I do it to myself, but for some reason I just decided to keep building them.
Well, when you find what works, you stick with it, and if nothing else, it's garnered plenty of attention, and you certainly turned the heads of the folks over at Hardcore with the effort that you put out this year with the cars that you brought and run with those guys. So that should be a bit of a feather in the cap, and I love looking at the pictures that you post of the cars when they're done. There's just a neat looking car when they're built as a derby car, and then you put up the aftermath pics, and they look cool when they're torn up too. Our first exposure to them, really, I've been trying to think back as we were talking. I don't remember really ever seeing a Thunderbird. I remember hearing stories about it and pictures on WeCrash. But the first time I think I ever saw one run was when we saw Zacharias out there at Winter Slam, that first year that we went out there, and he won Mad Dog and the feature with it. And I think then we saw yours that summer. And the next time we saw him was when we went to Wadena for the team show. Zacharias had Kurt and CJ each had teams, and they had T-Birds there. But you don't run into them a lot.
No, they're kind of an oddball car, but you know they're cheap compared to, you know, a lot of other derby cars out there.
Wait, hang on. Wait a second. John Lamer is calling you out in the live chat, and you have understated your story that in the process of one of those runs, you inverted a pointy on the front of one of your T-Birds?
Yeah, I still have it in the front yard, actually.
Yes. That's awesome.
It was a team show, 2017 up at Stoneboro.
Okay.
Me, Chance, and Casey were on a team. You qualified one night, and then the next night you ran the feature. Mm-hmm. Once you qualified, you got 4 foot of 1/4 inch, 4 inch plate. You could use it however, wherever you wanted to. And so we pounded the plate to the front of the car because the back of the T-Bird's worthless.
Right.
Just forget about it. And seam welded pointy, completely flat, inverted actually,
wow,
into the core support.
That's awesome.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And after we ran up there, one of my good buddies, he has some equipment. We strapped it down to his trailer, pulled it back down, and I took it down to New Alexandria for their fall brawl. Mm-hmm. And I ran on 3 wheels most of the night because I lost the ball joint. But the beak of the pointy was where my radiator would have been. and it was on the inside of the core support.
Wow. That's awesome. The steering components, the ball joints and stuff, so what do? You fabricate your own, or do you retrofit other control arms on the front so that you can use those better ball joints? What do you do?
I keep the stock T-Bird uppers.
Okay.
And I run some Chrysler parts on the lowers, Chrysler lower, Chrysler ball joint, and I run a Uniball style ball joint up for the upper ball joint. And Crown Vic spindles. It's just a mismatch of parts. Depending on the rules, I'll run aftermarket tie rods. I actually run 3-point hitch top links for tie rods. You can buy them for $24 at Tractor Supply.
Huh.
So the 3/4 Heim joints is basically what they are. You sleeve them down to 5/8, throw a grade 8 in it, call it good. They're strange cars. It took me a long time to figure out a suspension setup that the geometry was still decent, so where your camber wasn't ridiculously, toed in, toed out.
Right.
They're just strange cars. They take a lot of work. Nothing fits. Like I said, I went to the LS this year. I didn't know what to do for an oil pan, so I just built my own. I built an oil pan, built a pickup tube to make it fit to the car. Way different than putting a small block Ford in one.
Right.
So,
well, I hope you keep doing it. It sounds like a real pain in the neck to put one of those together, but the rewards, if nothing else, you've built a reputation and name for yourself. Fun driver to watch for sure. Tyler Smay making some time for us here tonight. Talk a little bit about the T-Birds, known all over in Pennsylvania as the guy with the T-Birds, and Tyler delivers on every last bit of it. Anybody that you want to make mention of here before we got to get out of here?
I have to say, last year, 2 years ago, Josh Charles and myself, we actually started a promotion company for Demolition Derby, High Octane Promotions. Same stories a lot of guys have had, for Tennessee and the county fairs, as bad as they have gotten.
Right.
We kind of stepped away from the county fairs and, running the county fairs, so we figured we should try to give the drivers in the local area something to go to instead of getting run over. So, we've been focusing a lot of time towards that. I have to thank my girlfriend, Jenna, because most of the time I'm in the garage. So a lot of the house projects get pushed back. But, it's a good time, so.
Awesome. Well, we do appreciate you making some time for us here this evening. It was good to catch up with you. I look forward to doing it again. Let us know how that season develops for High Octane, and as things develop, if you pick up any new shows, let us know. We'll get that information out there.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for your time.
Tyler, man, appreciate you coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
See you now.
Bye.
Thoughts from Tyler Smay, the guy in the T-Bird. Man, fun conversation. I'm really glad that we got the show in. I was really nervous there because we had lined this up, and these are a couple guys that have been talked about a little bit here in the last 2 months. Wanted to get some thoughts from them and where things were at. Both of them looking to spend a little bit of time in Western Pennsylvania this year, which is good. Good to see those guys getting back on track. And then Tyler with the promotions company, going to try and help right some of the strayed ships, if you will, in terms of the county fair level stuff. Charlie Webb talking about WFO. Can't argue there. Scott Drenovac talking a little bit about, in the live chat, one of the topics that we had hit on in terms of those T-Birds running similar to what you would see in a Suicide Lincoln. Alex Vasco checking in a little bit late, but nonetheless making it here. Good to catch up with Alex. And just like that, we're at 7:05. We for what it was 6:45 when I said I'm not sure, or excuse me, 5:45, Brian, when I said I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get this off the ground, and all of a sudden it's 7:05, and we had a couple good conversations.
Yeah, you sent me that text, and I'm like, said something about the internet, and I'm like, unless the world's ending, we're going to do the show because, Chris Marquardt fixes stuff. So then you texted me back or stabbed me back or whatever and said, hey, we're going to be good. So, yeah, I think it was a good show. We, got to talk to a couple guys, and they're definitely well known, locally and, throughout the area. And, Cory made the big tow to Vegas, and, obviously he came back from there pretty successful. So it's always good to talk to guys.
Absolutely. Tyler Reed is going to be joining us on the 25th of January. So looking ahead, we'll see Tyler Reed on the 25th. Still putting everything together for the 18th. I got to make some phone calls and figure things out with Tim for some projects that we got going in 2020. So I'm going to try and talk him into coming on next Monday, but I'm not sure if we're going to get anywhere.
He might be in Michigan snowmobiling it. He's at this point he's got to be looking for something fun to do. So he might be traveling the sled. He
threw me a couple texts in the middle of last week as some other stuff became finalized. It's not public yet, but as some stuff became finalized. So we did trade a couple texts, but when I did ring his phone, it didn't ring through. So I don't know. He's always doing something anyway, though. Probably trying to buy another Cadillac clipped round back.
Yeah, he's a busy dude.
Excellent. Well, we do appreciate all the support. Like we said, this is a bit of a unique episode that we will only do one time. This was the 400th time that Crash Course has gone live on Finger Lakes 1, which is an accomplishment for Crash Course, and it's a testament to the dedication of Finger Lakes 1 to have put up with us for this long.
Absolutely.
We appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Brian, any final thoughts on this one?
No, we like I said, good show, and hopefully things start getting better.
We do agree. Episode number 338 officially in the books for the 400th time. Thanks so much for tuning in. We couldn't have done it without all of the support of you fans, and keep getting better, Ed. We sure do miss you. Looking forward to catching up with you soon. That's going to do it for this one in the books. We're done with it. Thanks a lot for hanging out in the live chat, too. We'll see everybody next time.
Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. And Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast.